So today let's explore this cheap digital caliper. I was donated this one a long time ago and I'm using it occasionally, but the disadvantage of this one is that it discharges the battery in it quite quickly. And sometimes when I need it, the battery is empty again, and also the resolution is just 0.1 millimeters. So I sometimes go back to this one, which has a 0.02 millimeter resolution, and of course it has a battery in it which never discharges. This one has a 0.02 millimeter vernier scale, and of course you have to know how to read it. Some of the younger viewers probably have no idea, but let's go back to this one. This is the subject of today's video. Let's see how does it work and what's inside of it. I'm trying to insert a microamp meter in the circuit, and draws about 16 microamps from new batteries which are about 1.5 volts. This is the previous one, it already discharged. It's about 1.07 volts only now, and it doesn't work anymore. And it probably draws the current all the time. Even if it's off, it actually turns on by moving it off, and moving it turns it on. The display is off, but all the sensing circuitry actually has to be still active, even in the off position. So that's why it probably discharges batteries quickly. A better way of measuring the current is inserting some insulation in the way of the positive contact and bypassing it using a microamp meter. Now it's on 16.5 microamps about, and off 14.7. The display doesn't make much difference. Most of the current is drawn by the other circuitry in it. It goes up to 156.8 millimeters. It can be turned off and on. It can be zeroed in some position. It can be switched between millimeters and inches. But now, of course, the internals. I didn't have any screws under this sticker. 4 screws here. One is missing, and it's a carbon fiber composite, this digital caliper. If you can believe it, of course. Let's just open the screws that are there. This should come off. It does. Does this fall apart? Some spring flies away. It's for some friction, and that's basically it. Not much of it in it. And this side has all the circuitry. Some sensing here, some electrodes. This set of electrodes is sliding on this. So there should be something under this sticker. Let's try to remove it. There are some contacts for a circuit board. There is basically a set of electrodes spaced every 5 millimeters. And then they divide here into 2.5 millimeter sections. This is capacitively coupled. It seems that this antenna actually capacitively couples to this part, and so there is always a 2.5 millimeter section with a signal and a 2.5 millimeter section with no signal. And this keeps alternating. This antenna transmits into this section, and then these sections transmit the signal back into these, or capacitively couple it. This is divided into small sections, sensing the position of these. One of these 2.5 millimeter sections always aligns with 4 of these small sections on this board, which means 4 of them always get the coupled signal and 4 of them not, and it keeps repeating. But now let's open this and see the other side of the board. I took 4 screws out and it comes out. Here's the display, the battery contact, and not much else. A chip under a blob, the electrodes for the display, the electrodes for the buttons, some extra ones which are not used actually, and 3 SMD capacitors, and that's it. And there seems to be 8 lines going from the chip into the electrodes, so it's repeating every 8 electrodes basically. 1 is connected with 9, 2 is connected with 10, and so on. Or basically they're connected with the inputs of the microcontroller 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this keeps repeating. Both sides are basically repetitive, which means there is no absolute position sensing. It's only sensing the relative position. Which also explains why, when you slide it out and then insert the battery, it shows a 0. In such case you have to slide it all the way in, and then press the 0 button, and only then it's going to measure properly. The signal is coupled into this side of these pads, and in this position they continue into inputs 1, 2, 3, 4. When you slide it, it's 2, 3, 4, 5, then 3, 4, 5, 6, and this continues until they get again to 1, 2, 3, 4. And these sections are about 2.5 millimeters wide, but the exact size can be actually 0.1 inches, which is very close but slightly bigger. You can see these align with tenths of an inch, and these as well. But of course the question is, are these 4 exactly the same size as one of these, or is there a slight difference? Or in other words, is it using a vernier technique or not? But to me it actually makes more sense if 4 of these are actually the exact size of one of these. But still these input electrodes are too large for its 0.1 mm or 0.01 inch resolution. So it has to be able to measure in a linear region to be able to tell that this one is only partially overlapping with the input. It has to be able to measure partial overlap. And of course inevitably we have to poke an oscilloscope into it. The ground clip goes to the negative of the battery. Let's poke into one of the display connections, about 70 Hz, 50% duty cycle, and some other waveforms here. That's part of the display multiplex, of course. Most of the electrodes actually seems to be just a square wave. Of course it was a good idea to reduce the sensitivity of the oscilloscope. There has to be also some voltage doubler with these capacitors because it actually goes beyond the voltage of the battery. It's about 2 volts. It seems to have a square wave in most of the electrodes, except the last one, which seems to be switching 3 levels. Or the last 2 actually. These seem to be the common electrodes for the digits. It seems to have only 2 common electrodes and the other electrodes are for the segments, so it's multiplexing probably in just 2 steps. It's a 4-digit display. One step could be 2 digits and the other step the other 2 digits, which would mean 16 segments and 2 common electrodes for 2 digits each, plus a couple more electrodes for the special symbols, and that's it. But now of course everybody wants to see what goes into the antenna here. Just DC. No signal. I didn't expect this. And the inputs, well, so the 8 inputs are actually outputs, and the only output is actually the input. It's a square wave about 17 kHz, the duty cycle about 50%, but this duty cycle actually keeps fluctuating, or it's basically periodically changing it. All 8 outputs have the same thing, so how does it tell the signal of one from the others? To me it would definitely make more sense to have 8 inputs and 1 output, but for some reason it's the other way, so the signals have to be somehow different to be able to tell them apart. When I stop it, you can kind of see it now. The signal is about 50% duty cycle, but here it momentarily goes to a higher duty cycle, then again multiple cycles 50%, then a couple cycles here momentarily lower, again 50%, and it keeps repeating. Let's try to zoom it in. Here it's 50%, higher 50%, lower 50% again. I guess these duty cycle changes have to be happening at different times for different outputs to be able to tell them apart. That's the only explanation, isn't it? So I poked 2 different channels into 2 different outputs and you can see the timing is different. This one went to the maximum duty cycle here and this one a bit later, and again the minimum duty cycle happened here for this channel and for this one a bit later. So the different timing of these duty cycle changes is how it recognizes the signals from different outputs. And the basic principle of the sensing remains, but the signals actually travel the other way in it. These are the 8 outputs and 4 of them are coupled into here, into the sliding part, and then coupled again into this receiving antenna, which goes into the chip input. And the signal is actually a square wave, and the position of the sliding part decides which 4 out of these 8 signals are received here. And the chip knows the position based on what signals it receives. So that's how these work. Am I going to put it back together? And surprisingly it's back together now. And working. This one is definitely an interesting progress from these, but I would still like the resolution to be 0.01mm, not just 0.1. And also the standby consumption could be lower, to make the batteries last longer. Even if it meant you could only turn it on by pressing the button, not by moving it. Because the way it is now requires the sensing to run all the time. And of course, if you like my videos, please consider subscribing, supporting my channel on Patreon or using the thanks button, in proportion to the value you received from my videos. And big thanks to all of you who already support me. My videos are real, not AI, so they of course take a lot of time and effort to make.